p.m. and it's Tuesday night. I got my laptop on and I feel alright. I got a few joints rolled and my munchies made. Got my headphones on and I close the door, don't disturb me. It's time to stand up tall and say some things about the shitty world we're living in with the boys at Raconteurs News. To Raconteurs, Raconteurs, to Raconteurs, Raconteurs, to Raconteurs News, Raconteurs News, Raconteurs News, Raconteurs News, Raconteurs News. Oh yeah.
Mic on. Good evening and welcome to Raconteurs News. It's the 20th of March 2018 and it is 3 minutes after 9. I'm very sorry we're a little bit late tonight, but hopefully we will have... Oh, sorry, 7? What we got here?
3 minutes after 7, not fucking 9, you dipstick.
Well, 3 minutes. We'll go till 3 minutes after 9. All right. So, this evening we've not got an official guest as such, but I am joined by fellow raconteurs. We've got Andy Young. He's joining me, my erstwhile co-host. How you doing, Andy? All right, mate.
Yeah. I think that's the first time in my entire life I've ever been described as erstwhile. And if I knew what it meant, I might be quite proud of the fact, but I'm not really sure about it.
And, of course, another raconteur. We've got Paul Webster probably joining us later on when he gets home from work, if he gets home from work, depending on the work situation. But he's going to join us as soon as he gets home from his job. But we've also got Aid Hardy with us as well. Aid, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate, thanks. And unlike you, I've got my microphone switched on.
That's usually Andy's trick. I think it's like a first presenters type thing that we do. We've got that many things to look at and especially when you're producing for yourself. What a day! Have you had interesting days? I've been down to where I went today. I had a bit of a tour of Jaguar Land Rover in Solihull, and what a fucking huge place that is. There's a lot of fucking Land Rovers. They were parked everywhere, absolutely everywhere. Every single little bit of space that they seem to have had brand new Land Rovers or Discoveries or whatever parked in it. So obviously they're still making a mint, selling them, I would imagine most of them overseas. So, it was very interesting, and it probably took me about 20 minutes to get out of there. So that's been my day. It's been quite an interesting day. I've had a bit of a mope round, a mosey round. So, yeah. What about you guys? Good days?
Yeah, mine's been interesting. I've spent it in the company of a young man who's just approaching 2 years old, and he's had me in stitches. And that's why when he joined the call, I says, yeah, rabbit about what you like, mate. I'll go to sleep for an hour because I'm knackered. But in a good way.
Marvellous. Well, anyway, tonight's show, I thought we should discuss a few different issues. And one thing that got to me today, because I've been in the car, I've had... Oh, by the way, when I left Jaguar Land Rover, I had my car searched, so... I said, I don't know what you think. I've got like a fucking Land Rover in back of there or whatever, but still they did a search. And I did ask him, I did say to him, have you ever caught anybody who's nicked out? And he just said no. I said, well, it's a bit of a waste of time. But then again, I said, but it keeps you in a job. So that's Jaguar Land Rover. Right, what I wanted to go on to was today we had the news that the FA... the Football Association are making it mandatory, which for each of the 28 teams that represent England at various different levels must now mandatorily have a coach from a ethnic background, black or ethnic background. They must have it. And this is it's quite it sort of speaks of. You remember my fucking rants about how football and society are interlinked. For me, that it's you got your hand up, Aidy. Go on.
Yeah, well, you know me. I know less than nothing about football by choice, but doesn't matter what walk of life you're in. Does it really matter what somebody's skin colour is? And what I mean by that is, when I look at somebody, I don't care what colour their skin is, what religion they are. It's a man or a woman I've got in front of me. And whatever their strengths in whatever they choose to do in their life and whatever pleasures they get are entirely their choice. If you've got a situation where somebody is choosing them for a job, then their colour, religion, beliefs or whatever should neither go for them or against them. It's whoever's best for the job. But actually having it where it's mandatory that you've got to have somebody from some ethnic or religious background is just complete and utter shite.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's it's
there is
also, I would
one
say
race.
it's illegal.
Called the human race. Well, surely it is. I mean, there's one race. It's the human race, and for me, this is just another way of divide and conquerors.
Well, surely when we had the Race Discrimination Act, it was they brought in all this laws, rules, whatever you want to call them, to say you cannot discriminate against anyone because of their race, creed. I'm not sure what the absolute definition is, but by doing so, you see, that's how they get around it. They call it positive discrimination. It's fucking discrimination. End of.
It's like I've said before. You can look in the old phone book, which actually they pushed through my door again the other day, and I was amazed that it still existed. And you can find the Asian women's group, the Muslim men's group, the Sikh group. You try find the white heterosexual single male group, or you try to form that.
You can't do that. That's racist.
You're a fucking Nazi racist. That's easy for me to say. You know, if you tried to do that, you'd just be labelled as some kind of freak.
Mm.
You know, and it just seems that if you happen to be white and male, then, you know, you can't do anything, but everybody else can.
It's
just ridiculous.
And that therein lies the agenda. Therein lies the agenda, because what you're doing is you're making victims. You're putting people into the situation where they're victims. So if you're of an ethnic minority, you can then say, I'm being discriminated against, and therefore I'm a victim. So I can't do anything that a white person could do, or I won't be thought of in the same way as a white person, and my application won't be viewed in the same way as a white person, which is actually inaccurate, because if you think about it, according to according to government statistics, 92% of people who live in the UK are white, of white origins. So if 92% of people, I heard that on the BBC. Now, I don't know what sort of bullshit that really is, but yes, that is apparently the official figure. 92% of people in Britain in the UK are white. Now, therefore, if there's only a couple of black managers, and let's face it, I know you don't know much about football, but there are tons and tons of black players. There's many since the bad days when we first started getting black players. Laurie Cunningham, Cyril Regis, Viv Anderson, who was the first black player to play for England and play for Sheffield Wednesday as well. By the way, who beat Leeds on magnificently on Saturday on their own turf. So. All these black pioneers. Now we've got a situation where there are a great number of black players in the game. So if they're not moving into management, it's either because they don't want to, right? It's either because they don't want to, or and also how many just take a just have a think about this, right? And you two, I'm just talking to a fucking brick wall. But anybody that's listening that follows football will know how many football players these days retire and then go into management. Not very many. Not very many. None. In fact, they've got enough money as it is. So the fact that we're not getting these that we're not getting these ethnic people wanting to do trade, wanting to do coaching, and I suppose I bet there is some, and I bet there are some instances where they've been turned down because of the colour of the skin, and I don't condone that. But to make that mandatory and write it into the footballing laws, that is absolutely ridiculous.
It's just another way of. It's just divide and conquer.
Mm.
And it's just another way of controlling and allowing people to think that it's normal, and then it'll just spread into other parts of your life that are controlled by whatever organisation or government. One other thing as well, when I worked in financial services, I was a cracking salesman, but I tell you what, when they made me a manager, I was shit. I was crap.
Mm.
I was a crap manager. When they say those that do, but those that can't teach, it's pretty damn right. Because the people who can teach it don't have to be good at it.
They just have to know how to do it.
They just have to know how to do it, and then let you apply all that knowledge to what else you can do. They don't need the skills to do it.
No.
But they just need to be able to teach you how to do it. So, that's just, but you're quite right, I mean, I know they earn a lot of money, irrelevant whether or not I agree with it, but at the end of the day, if they've made it mandatory for a club to have a non-white, because that's what they're saying, a non-white, but then again, I'm sure if me, you and Andy all did one of these tests where you can find out what percentage of you is white, black, Viking, whatever, one of these DNA things. I'm sure somewhere down the line there's, somebody who wasn't born in England in my bloodline.
Do you believe those tests are actually for real? Because
I
think firstly, I think the results are probably manipulated to give us all this big melting pot thing. Because I think there will be groups of people in this island who are indigenous back forever, or back until the primitive man was moving around the planet. But I mean, for me, football is an example. It's a high-profile example of because let's face it, it was a sport. It isn't a sport anymore. It's a business.
Yeah,
of course it is.
It's fucking big business. But it's just an example of another business where people are not allowed to run the business as they see fit. These, whoever they are, these idiots, psychopaths, whatever you want to call them, that sit in Westminster, they decide that they're going to tell... If I start a business and it's successful, they're going to tell me how to run my business because I'm not a moral or fit person to run the business on my own moral grounds. Now, if I was running a business, and I'm sure anybody else who's running a business was to need a manager, I would want the most capable person doing that manager's job.
All right. I don't care what sex they are, what colour they are.
No. And if I was a little bit insecure, I might want somebody who's not too bloody good at the job because they might be after my job and taking over the company. I have known of instances where people have been employed who are not particularly good at being managers because then the guy above them doesn't feel too threatened. But there was, I think it was Dinny I was talking to the other week, was talking about when he went to Sweden. Now, in Sweden, he said they made a law where all companies, no matter what your business, you've got to employ people of 50% of each sex. So your workforce has got to be 50-50 male-female. Well, how the hell's that going to work?
Well, you get some blokes to dress up as women. That's what you do. You hire all blokes and you say, right, you're going to get paid an extra 50 pence or £1 an hour, but you've got to wear women's clothes and identify as a woman if anybody asks.
Well, I can remember when I was working for Mecca years ago, and Jason might remember this, and I was resident DJ in Tiffany's, and we put a big poster up saying that I think it was Thursday night was ladies' night, so ladies got in free, right? And the council and the police came and said we couldn't do that because it was sexually discriminatory against men. So we actually had blokes turning up in skirts so that they didn't have to pay to get in.
So what about this situation? Just think about this. What about this situation? Let's think about it from the other side. Let's think about it from the side of the guy that's been hired as a coach because of his race and his colour, right? His race or his religion or his ethnicity. Now, what does he think then? Does he think, well, they only hired me because of my skin colour, or they only hired me because I'm a minority? They only hired me, and he's gonna, for want of a better phrase, he's gonna feel like a token gesture. He's gonna feel like that because the the rules been brought into place, that they've employed him simply on that basis, and therefore. He feels like
maybe this. Sorry, Jason, go on.
No, maybe he feels bad and feels like he's only been hired. So it's a double-edged sword, really. You get people saying, you get people. You've got three types of victims here. You've got ethnic minorities who don't give a fuck about football anyway, or don't want to be football things, but it gives them something else to connect to cling to say, look, I'm discriminated against. It's because we seem to be in this perpetual victimhood in this country, just about everybody, and so I'm not going to discriminate and say just minorities, because it's whites, minorities, it's everybody's in this perpetual victimhood, and so. You've got three victims. You've got the people that are saying, well, hang on a minute, you can't do that. That's discrimination. Well, if the white guy is the best guy for the job, then he should be hired. And then you've got the guy that actually gets hired as part of this policy, who then doesn't know what his real role is in that organisation. Is he there really to coach, or is he there just to make up the numbers? Just so that the percentage, so that the compliant. Is he a compliance coach?
Well, maybe they'll just come up with a new name for the position of toke.
Yeah.
Oh, he's our toke.
And that's what and that's what it will encourage, because people will resent it. People, you imagine you're a football coach, right? And your one of your mates is just he needs a job, and he's an excellent football coach. He's a fantastic football coach, and you put him forward for a job, but he's not given the opportunity because that job has been allocated for somebody of an ethnic background. Now, that's then going to cause it's going to cause tension between that individual who already works there, who we're trying to get his mate a job, who's probably a great coach, or could be a great coach, and the guy that's been hired in his place, the ethnic minority guy that's been hired in his place. Plus, what happens if they've already got one? Do they say, well, we've already got one? So, what if there must be some ethnic minority coaches in the England setup at some particular point? So what if we've already got one? What do we do? Do they have to hire another one now? It's just a whole can of worms. And when you make something mandatory, that's when it starts getting, we start getting into a dark area, aren't we? It's really, really dark and controlling.
I know it was the FA, but whose idea was this? Who whose little chestnut was this?
Oh, I don't know. It'll probably be some some old fart white guy in a fucking suit upstairs in FA who's on fucking 50 grand, 750 grand a year, and he's go on.
Can I suggest the Royal Institute of International Affairs might have something to do with it?
Right, okay, the Royal Institute of International Affairs. Like I said, some fucking idiot that's got a job. Have one of these jobs where you come up with these fucking stupid ideas. You know, what today? What's today? It's International Happiness Day. Are we all happy?
Day.
That's today. It's somebody fucking... That's a thing.
Jason, why didn't you tell me I've been a right miserable twat all day?
Well, we know like you don't like to conform, so that's probably got something to do with that. But International Happiness Day, I mean, who comes up with these things? We had International Women's Day a couple of weeks ago, just before Mother's Day. You know, is that a way to phase out Mother's Day because you don't want to discriminate against women that don't have children or can't have children, or because you might upset somebody on Mother's Day and there's a woman sat there and she can't have children? It's you know, every little whim that anybody ever has. Look, if that's your situation, it's you know, it's not a nice situation to be in, but that's what you have to deal with.
The one day that we should have is fucking grow a pair and grow up. Yeah. Instead of everybody mollycoddling around everybody and saying, "Oh, we can't have Mother's Day and we can't call it Christmas. We've got to call it holidays." Well, if it's Christmas, it's fucking Christmas.
But you see, again, a lot of that, Ada, is just myth that's on social media. You know, like this. Every shop I've been in where they've had eggs on display, they've all said Easter eggs on them. None of them have said fucking anything. They've all said Easter, and there's all sorts of shit on social media. And this is where people, like you said, they need to grow up and be able to recognise the shit for the shit that it is. And put the concentration on something that's actually real.
Yeah, because it's like I've said, it's all there to distract us, isn't it? So that we don't look at what's really going on. That's all it is. It's just another fucking soap opera. And because football is, well, there's not many. I would say I'm in the minority of a man of my ethnic background, my age, and you know, I was born in a steel town. I mean, how many men are not into football who've got the steelworks to work every day? You know, I'm in a minority.
Yeah, of course you are.
But it's just there as another part of the lifelong soap opera, so that nobody actually realises what's really going on.
Well, I want to say hello to some of the people in the chat room. You can get onto the chat room. Please go to the chat room. It's on the main page on raconteursnews.com. You can sign up, get yourself a name, and that'll be your name every time you go. I'm Jesus in there if you don't know. I'm Jesus. Andy is Andy. Andy Young. And Webby will be Webby when he gets here. So a big hello to everyone who's in the chat room. I'm Black and Proud. I think I know who that is. No need for an introduction there. John Hull as well. Welcome, John. It's nice to see your continued support. It's really great that he put a comment in, actually, that a policeman friend of his, and now I'm having to paraphrase because I can't scroll up enough, but a policeman friend of his said that when they were interviewing anybody of an ethnic minority, if they were to offer him a coffee, they'd have to offer him with milk or without milk, and they couldn't say black or white. You know, and this is the way that it's going.
Baba Green Sheep.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, Jason, I've got a question I've got to ask.
Go on then.
No, it's Baba Fluffy Sheep, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got a question I must ask.
Go on.
Is it because I is white?
Well, it pretty much is, yeah.
You've read out a few of the names in there. You missed one out. Well, we've got Sammy in there. Sam's been a listener right back since our days on that Irish radio station. So welcome along, Sammy. And we've got Jason Powers, Austin's cousin, over in Canada, Stan, listening to us.
And also Shitty Leeds as well. We've got to mention Shitty Leeds.
I thought you mentioned Shitty Leeds.
Great comedy value last night. We had a great show last night. We've got to have her back on again. She was dynamite, weren't she? I mean, AD, it was. Yes, it was surreal. I was wondering. I would try to phrase my questions so that it weren't in a in a way that Shitty Leeds and Lindsay could turn it into some sort of like Tinder conversation, you know. So great show last night.
I thought you were going to say Grindr then.
And we might have our first wedding as well, but I think Leeds withdrew his proposal, didn't he, to Lindsay, when he realised that she was from Lancashire. Well, when it sunk in, I think he got a bit excited at first because it were a female voice, and we all know he likes them.
Well, I think he was prepared to put up with that when she said that her mouth was about the same size as a worm's, her vagina was about the same size as a worm's mouth. But when she mentioned she was into, was it Slipknot or something, some heavy rock band, he said, "Oh no, fuck that." He says, "I'm not marrying her."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and the vagina's mouth, and there were plenty of great comments in the chat room as well, so it's always good fun in there. So if you get onto Raconteurs, if you're watching on Facebook Live, just have just silence your other device, and just go onto the website raconteursnews.com, and you can join in there. It's really super fun that we're having in there. Super fun. So let's get back to this whole race issue and how. Let's face it, we get these social network. I don't know how many times I've seen these memes where it says they want us to take down the George Cross from the, in case it offends Muslims and all this sort of stuff, and you know it's absolute bollocks. But what it does is when people have got this, because they have. This deeply in the consciousness, this mistrust of Muslims, particularly, especially in the current climate of them being blamed for fucking everything, like these Muslim grooming gangs, right? Muslim grooming gangs. How come it's only when it's Muslim grooming gangs that the fucking that their religion is mentioned? Why not? We've got grooming gangs in Hollywood. Now, Hollywood is predominantly Jewish, the people that run Hollywood. Why are they not called the Jewish grooming gang? Because it's all about demonising Muslims, and we've all been conditioned with that, and that's all been lobbed at us, everybody, and it's subconsciously it's gone in. So we have this not so much a hatred, but we have like a mistrust and a I'm slightly wary of you because this is what all the shit I've been told, and this is what we need to get over. We need to get off that and get away from it. Ada, yes, your hands up.
Yeah, we should just change the word to politician.
Politician grooming gang.
I mean, yeah, because, they bring out a cracking, 48-minute film about Savile and how he was procuring kids. I mean, he was just like the Pied Piper for royals. And what do they do with that? They don't put it in the news and say it was, Jewish or Christian or Catholic or politicians or anything. No, they ban it. They ban it off YouTube and don't allow it to be shown.
We've got an...
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, like you say, anything at all that's to do with anybody who is of, or could even be deemed as, Muslim, they just use that as a way to implant that into your brain in exactly the same way that what they'll do, something happens, I don't know, somebody lights a fire in a bin outside McDonald's, and on the news, well, there hasn't been any confirmation as to whether or not it was terrorist-related. Well, it's probably not terrorist. It's probably not related to a bag of Wotsits either. But they don't mention that. It's just any chance to mention terrorist, Muslim, anything like that. Even when it's nothing to do with that, they drop the word in to plant it further in your brain.
That's right.
I'd just like to make it clear that other high fructose corn snacks are available.
Other than Wotsits, yeah. And there's also other shit fucking undigestible crap other than McDonald's available as well.
Oh yeah, of course there is. Yeah,
You can't call it food because it fucking isn't.
we've had an interesting comment in the comments section on Facebook Live. Hello to everyone who's watching on Facebook Live. You're welcome. I hope I'm not fucking pixelated again. Can you see me, Andy? Am I pixelated all over the place again? Like I were yesterday. It seems to not happen when I'm on my own, but it does on Raconteurs News for some reason. Worse, anyway.
You look right, yeah.
No, what, sorry?
You look all right from my end.
Excellent. Okay, so
You look better pixelated.
we got a comment from Penny Tommy, and Penny Tommy said, "Hi, Jason. When I got arrested a few years ago, I had a small gollywog keyring on my keys, and the police took it off me, and they told me I was being racist." That just about sums it up, doesn't it? You know, the way that it is. That, you know, it's just.
I'd have said, "Shove it up your ass, you pig," and see what they said to that.
Yeah, but you see, that's what they're doing, isn't it? It's just like absolutely fucking ridiculous. It don't matter where. Can I have my gollywog back, please?
Yeah, everything that we've been talking about, yeah, that worries me. But what worries me even more is that the people that are watching mainstream and listening to mainstream who can't see through it. That's what worries me more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Of course it is.
What you've also got to think about with this whole agenda is it's about controlling what we say. Now,
and think
words are spells. You know, why do you have a spelling test? Because it's a spell. And there is a kind of magical power in these words. And we're not being allowed to say certain words or use certain words in certain contexts. That is essentially manipulating the whole consciousness of anybody who plays along with this bullshit. Yeah. And you're allowing yourself to be mind programmed, if you like.
And it's not only the thought police that we've got, but, you know, to tell you what you can't think, but it's also planting it in your brain to tell you what you've got to think. Mm-hmm. It's a double edger.
Yes, and if you don't think that way, then you're cast out, aren't you, from society? This is the thing about it is that society does that. I think it's becoming less and less, but you know, you're able to get through to more. I think you're a lot. I've been at this for fucking since 2005 or whatever, 2005, 2006, and so I know that back then. That if I said to somebody, in fact, I remember I probably told this story before, but I'm driving home from work. I was working at a club called Coyote Wild in Mansfield, and I was driving home when it was sort of 4 o'clock in the morning. And I pulled into a petrol station. I thought I'd get myself a sandwich or something, and some crisps. Well, not Watsits though, but and I said to the bloke, I said I just watched 9/11 in plain sight. It was still there. I mean, I'd watched it. I think when I first saw it, I watched it every night when I got home from work. You know, so I was working 3 nights a week, and it like at 4. I get home at 4, half 4, and then you know, I'd watch it again and have a joint, and it just blew my mind. And that's what it's like when it's first explained to you. It does blow your mind, but. You know, really back then there weren't very many allies. You know what I mean? You couldn't say to somebody. I remember playing poker, and I was playing poker with some people that I normally play poker. I used to play poker with anyway. So it was a normal thing. We had a game on a Sunday, and they used to come around. We'd play poker, and I was trying to explain it. And all the saying is, no, Guillaume, no. You've watched one YouTube video and you've come up with that. And I thought to myself, well, that's more than you fucking watched. But you know, you sort of kept yourself to yourself because you didn't want to you know, I had to fucking play poker with these people and interact with them, and some of them were part of family and all that sort of shit. So I just couldn't be asked to get into it. But nowadays, people are more receptive to things. I mean, even flat Earth gets people. It don't matter what you think about it. It's just the concept of being able to think about it for yourself, and to be able to come up with your own decision of what you believe, or if you're like me, fuck knows, I ain't got a fucking clue. So I'm sort of piggy in the middle. But if you come up with your own decision, at least that's your decision, and you've looked at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas we've been fucking indoctrinated with this fucking Earth, you know, pictures of Earth and space and all that shit. So yeah, go on, Ada. Yeah, I've been talking too much.
What I'm finding at the moment is there's people that I've spoken to, some at great length, some that I've just, you know, dropped one of my elevator statements at. And then this morning, I get 2 phone calls, completely different people, you know, actually different ends of the country, people that I've known who have got trouble with people trying to collect money off them. And all of a sudden, they're interested. And what I'm finding is that because there are more and more and more of us being shat on from an almighty height, people are now much more receptive to what affects them directly. So, you know, if we can try to help people out of their coma by helping them, you know, say with a debt collector or something like that, and then say to them, but, you know, you need to watch this so that you understand where money really comes from, or you need to watch this to help you understand what happened with 9/11, or you need whatever it is in their little world. That you know, that's the only way that people are going to come out of the coma.
And more are doing it.
Yeah, because more and more people are being shat on from an almighty height.
They're being forced to, aren't they? Because they've got to look for alternatives. When what's normal is taken away from you, and what you're used to is taken away from you, you have to look for alternatives. And if you're looking for them alternatives, you're going to find alternative reasons as to why you've not got what you used to have. And you know, it's the Tories taking away free school meals for 1 million children. I mean, it's ridiculous. But not in Northern Ireland. And you know, because the DUP bailed out and is propping up this government. So they say, all right, well, we'll not do it for you in Northern Ireland. Your kids can keep having the free school meals. But what we're going to do in the rest of England and Wales and Scotland, in fact, I don't even know if it applies to Scotland, but England and Wales anyway, is they're going to take the free school dinners. A lot of these kids don't get. I've got parents that are so impoverished that they don't get a decent meal, a hot meal in the evening time. So these meals are vital to these kids, absolutely vital. And she's just taking them away. And then on April the 1st, I think it is, the MP's pay rise kicks in, and they get a load more fucking money. It's something like an 11 or 10%. I don't know exactly, but it's a huge pay. It's a huge pay rise in the context of what's going on at the moment, when people are having to have 1/4%, which is really effectively a pay cut, because the fucking pay freeze that has been in place for so long, and the inflation's kept rising, so the money that they're getting is buying less and less, and now they get a 1/4% increase, which is it's just effectively a cut. It's a cut. So, but you know, people, as long as people are comfortable, the comfortable people will put down the fucking uncomfortable people, and the uncomfortable people are more likely to be the and I'm not. This is not disparaging in any way. I'm saying this in a way. I'm saying this, but they're more likely to be less educated. That means, for me, less indoctrinated.
Yes.
So that they can see that then, but then the ones that are who consider themselves more educated, who've got a fucking piece of paper that says you remembered this shit and then fucking spouted it out on a piece of paper for fucking, a couple of times, they They think they've got some sort of superiority complex simply because they've got a fucking piece of paper. But they haven't got a superiority complex. Like I've said before, my wife's got a degree. And when fucking Trump became president, she said to me, I don't think he should be president after living in that fucking mansion with all them young women for all them years. So, there you go. That's what a fucking piece of paper means that you understand. You only understand the shit that you've been fucking fed. Go on, Andy.
Andy might want to turn his mic on.
Yeah, I'll turn my mic on. That will work better. Can we take it from that comment, Jace, that your good lady thought that Donald Trump was actually a UF now?
Yes.
I
mean, they did have similar hairstyles. I've got to gear that.
A couple of things in what he said there. Firstly, Ronald Chump, because he's more of a clown than Ronald McDonald, isn't he? Yeah, Ronald Chump. No, what you were saying about money, Jason, you're dead right. It's not inflation, it's the deflation of the value of what you got in your pocket. That's what it is. And that's why it is actually a pay cut. But the other thing that you said as well was indoctrinated, and how some of these kids are with parents that are that impoverished. Now, I just want to pick up on that because of the job I do, I go to quite a lot of houses where you could use the word impoverished. And I see people around where I work and they go to the food bank. But they'll come home in a taxi. I'm serious. They'll come home in a taxi from the food bank.
Yeah.
Right? Now, that's just an observation and a chuckle. But more importantly, some of these people who are not feeding their kids right, which is why a school meal is important, have all got an iPhone and a 50-inch telly and pay Sky £100 a month for a full TV package.
Yeah, but listen.
Now that's not a criticism about them. That's a criticism about the system and how it's set up to make sure that they continue to be indoctrinated about all this shit that they don't need.
And reliant on system as well, and they're reliant on system.
Yeah,
exactly. They've been. These people have been failed. I see these. I see these shows. Right, me and Danielle watched. Danielle's my wife's name, by the way, if anybody didn't know. We watched one of these programs. Remember these? They're not on any. I don't think they're on anymore. I don't think they do them anymore. But they used to have all these horrible programs about people on benefits.
Yes,
and the prime example I saw, there was this woman, and she's on benefits, and I don't want to demonise her because it's not her fault. She's been failed by an education system, by a societal system. She's been failed by all these things that now this promiscuous society that seems to have evolved, where it's easy to go on Tinder and get a shag and whatever, and then they end up with they do that at a young age. They end up with a couple of kids, no bloke around. So they are, as far as I'm concerned, they are victims. They are victims to such an extent that I remember seeing one, and she's got her kids, right? And then it shows her, and she's coming out of the kitchen, and she gets this sort of Tupperware box, and opens it up, and inside the Tupperware box, it's all fruit, chopped up fruit, right? Grapes, all chopped up fruit, apples, grapes, oranges, strawberries, bananas, all chopped up lovely. It looked like a right nice fruit salad, right? She walks into the room, and she's actually feeding the lizard that she's got. Right?
She's feeding the lizard.
She's got like this iguana or lizard or something in a tank, and she's feeding that with the fruit while the kids are sat on the settee eating sugar puffs. That just shows you. I mean, nobody in the right mind. I mean, I'm sure she absolutely adores her kids and loves them, but nobody in the right mind. This is why we've been turned, and the at the moment, a right mind is a wrong mind because everyone else's fucking mind is wrong. They've got the priorities wrong, Andy.
Yeah, but don't you think some of that, Jason, is like you say, it's the whole program, it's the whole system. But people nowadays, they know the price of everything and the value of absolutely nothing. Because you think about it, those kids fell out of a clout and didn't cost her a penny. That thing in the tank, she had to pay a fucking fortune for it.
Yeah.
You know, but it's people's priorities, to me, or so many people's priorities are just all fucked up by this system that's got them on this treadmill and too busy to look at what's really happening in the world, what the world's all about, even the bullshit that they've been taught as they went through the schooling system. And an instance of that I'd like to bring up is you were talking about some people had phoned you after getting an elevator statement and wanted some help. Now, that sort of help, it's amazing. And to give it and to receive it. But I have come across some people who they like to help people, but they get really pissed off when they don't get financially compensated for doing so.
Now, I've never been financially compensated for it.
But exactly. We I think I can speak for all three of us and definitely for Webbo as well, because we've had this conversation. I've been a big believer ever since I really started to think about it, that you do what you do because you want to do it and because in your mind it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
If you expect a reward for it, you may or may not get one. If you don't expect a reward for it, you can absolutely fucking guarantee 100% cast iron, rock solid, you will get a reward for it, but it'll be when you least expect it and in a form that you maybe never even dreamt of.
Yeah.
Some of the things that I've done for people have cost me a lot of money.
Yep.
A lot of time, a lot of some detriment to my health. Sometimes I've had expenses for doing what I'm doing, and for that I'm really grateful. Sometimes I've had to charge a little bit because there's expense involved in doing what I'm doing that I can't cover out my own pocket. But I've never gone out to make money out of any of what we do. It's like you look at Raconteurs' new site, there isn't a donate button. Because, you know, we've got the shit that we need. We can afford to pay for the website and the Spreaker account between us. That's covered. So there really isn't any more expense unless one of us suddenly a computer blows up and we can't afford to replace it. We might be saying, any chance anybody's got an old computer they can let us have or something like that. But the rewards that have come back to me, I mean, I thought for a long time, before I teamed up with Jason, I was seriously thinking about just quitting the radio because I'd never actually met anybody who'd listened to the shows other than who was already a friend of mine. And it's just like, nobody's fucking listening. It's only people we know. It's only our friends that listen, or some friends on Facebook that, although they're Facebook friends, we may interact a little bit. We've probably never ever met them and never likely to. But when you suddenly get a stranger walks up to you in the street, realizes who you are, I presume it's because my voice is quite distinctive, and thanks you for their wife no longer being gravely ill, walking on sticks, taking a carrier bag full of meds every week and in constant pain. And now she's taking no meds, running, swimming, walking, Well, I said, well, it's not really me you want to thank. It's Andrew Fletcher. But I know Andrew's listening. But the lady with the daughter who had the fits, 60 to 100 fits a day for 17 years. Got her a bottle of CBD oil. As soon as she had a drop of that, stopped.
Yeah.
Go on, then, Ada. Oh, sorry,
when,
you finished. Sorry.
When people come to you and thank you in whatever way they choose to do it, some people are more emotional than others. Some might want to say, look, here's 50 quid, stick it in your pocket, whatever. That doesn't, it's not important. But those thanks that are really heartfelt, they're to me, the best reward that you can get in life.
I had a friend, and this is still ongoing, again, helping him with debt collectors and stuff. And once he'd finally made them go away, and he rang me up and he went, but how can I pay you back? I went, I don't want you to pay it back, I want you to pay it forward. He said, what do you mean? I said, tell somebody else. Don't pay it back, pay it forward. Because, in true Captain Cliche, this world belongs to all of us, so let's fucking share it. Pay it forward, don't pay it back.
I learned that when I was a lorry driver, I went to the pub one night for a piss up with me lorry driving mates, ordered a round, went for my wallet, and it wasn't there. So I said, oh shit. I said, the taxi's turning round in the car park. I'll get a taxi home, get my wallet, come back, I'll pay for the round when I get back. My mate just put 20 quid in my hand, quietly like that, and he said, don't worry about it, mate. And that was when you could have a night out on the pop with your mates for 20 quid and still have change and all that. But I said to him, I'll pop round your house and pop it through your letterbox tomorrow morning so that you've got the money before you go away. And he went, I didn't lend you it. I said, well, I'll pay you back. He said, no, pay somebody else back. A few months later, I parked up one Friday night at Newark on the old cattle market there before they built the new truck stop. And there was a lad next to me that I'd never met. And we got chatting as we were kind of filling the paperwork through the open window. It was a nice summer's day. And I said to him, are you going for a pint when you got done? He said, no, mate. He said, I've been out all week. I'm a bit skint. I said, well, tell you what, I've had a good week. I'll treat you to a couple of pints. I'd enjoy your company. So he came with me. And we had a belting night out on the beer. And then we went for an Indian. He said, oh, mate, he said that... As we were sat in the Indian waiting for it to come, he says, get one of them pads and write your address down so I can send you the money back. I said, oh, no. Just pay somebody else back. And I met that guy several years later, and he said, that thing you did for me there, I've started doing it myself. He says, it's changed my life. He said, it's just unreal.
Pay it forward, don't pay it back.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the people that you now realise you should pay back aren't here anymore. So take what you learned or take what they gave you and pay it forward. And then the world might just be a nicer place rather than all this shit they feed you on the BBC that we're all supposed to hate each other or employ each other just because they're a different fucking colour. Ridiculous.
Andrew K. Fletcher's commented on Facebook Live. Hi, Andrew. Hope you and your family, your wife, are well. Andrew, of course, is we call him the patron saint of inclined bed therapy.
I call him the patron saint of bricks. He's
boosted the brick industry no end. But if you've not seen Andrew's work on inclined bed therapy, I would highly, strongly, in the most strong way that I can, suggest that you go there because it's changed our lives and done a load of good for a lot of people that we know, hasn't it? So Andrew's put in his comment, he's put, you guys are amazing, love the idea of paying it forward, which is it is a great idea. And if you remember, there was a film a few years ago. There was a film a few years ago called Pay It Forward, right? Now, if you said to somebody, paying it forward, they just say, oh, you're just copying that film. Yeah, and that's why it was fucking done, because it was such a good idea. They put it onto a film, and then people are just trying to copy. Go.
In 6 months' time, paying it forward will be something that you can fucking win, because they'll turn it into a lottery or a bingo game. You know what I mean? But I have to say, Andrew K. Fletcher pays it forward every day, because for anybody listening who doesn't know, inclined bed therapy and his website and everything that you do is completely and utterly free.
Yeah.
It's not about selling you something. It's about sticking something under the edge of your bed, be it a book, a brick, or a medical book. You know, give them a fucking good reason for being there, wouldn't it? Give them an actual use. Or a lump of wood or anything. That's all it is. So Andrew K. Fletcher pays it forward, because the information that he's got, he gives it away for free.
Can I just add to that? That Andrew, I mean, I travelled down to Devon to meet Andrew. It's a 5.5 hour drive each way. But after how much that changed my life, I had to go down and meet him. I just wanted to give the guy a big hug and thank him. And I met his wife, lovely people, and I don't regret that for a minute. But if I can just personalise that message, Dinny, get your fucking bed up, man. We've been telling you long enough. You know how good it is. There's I don't know how many people across the world have benefited from it. Stop fucking about and get it done.
Listen, they told me 8 years ago that my left leg would last 2 years if I was lucky, after a bad motorbike accident.
Yeah.
Right, because of the bones just crumbling away. And it's all to do with blood flow and all the rest of it, and how I'd knackered it up. And I take CBD oil every day, and my bed's inclined. Now, I don't know if either of those two things have helped on my leg at all, but I can tell you one thing: they ain't done me any harm, and I'm not on a load of pills, and I can manage to walk around without being on painkillers, which I'm supposed to be on all the time, but I don't take them because I don't need to.
Well, yeah, anyway, we're at an hour. Can you believe we're at an hour? AD
Not
said
yet.
he could give me half an hour. AD said he could give me half an hour, and we're here an hour later. I don't know if you want to continue on into the second half, AD.
I'm sat here with Rodney on my knee.
All right, so you've got Rodney Dog. So AD will be with us in the second hour, and also we'll be joined by Paul Webster, who's just been in touch with me. He's ready and waiting. We're going to add him to the call. So there's going to be 4 of us on in the second hour, and it should be pretty crazy. And the bills of exchange will be brought up. Hallelujah. Now, listen.
I'll tell you what, I'll make a deal. Every time he mentions it, I'll drop a cliche, and how's that?
Okay. Well, listen, I've got this announcement. I don't know if people at home who are listening know what an ident is, but an ident is something that somebody comes on and they plug your website or they plug your radio station or whatever. Today I got a very, very special ident. Through very, very special means. What I did is I held a seance. So I've got this ident. So I'm going to play this ident before. So listen out for this before we go to the record. So I'm going to play this ident and then the record. And a couple of records. We'll see you back in a few minutes.
My name is Stephen Hawking, and I used to listen to Raconteurs News.
I'm gonna have some fun with this one here. In the morning, when I wake up, all I want is Mary Joanna. In the evening, when I'm thinking, all I want is Mary Joanna. If you look in my eyes, you will see what I've done. Every minute, every hour of every day. But life is like a smoke. In the end, I'm gonna choke. So all I do is live my life from day to day.
Oh my God, you know you better watch yourself because I know you're winning and they won. Cause I'm telling you calls and none. Cause you know they wanna say take off for a run. You let me see you do that run. Run and the one that they clean and the one that done. Cause I know you cannot be me now what you wanna do. Cause I'm about to break it down me solely. Cause you know you cannot fade me now. Let you wanna. You better back it down now because I'm telling you. What bar, bun bar, can I wonder? Because you know you like the way you put that pick up. Cause I'm telling all you fools what happened. And in a mercy. Now what you wanna do? And in a mercy. Now what you wanna do? And in a mercy. Now what you wanna do? And in a mercy.
If you look in my eyes, you will see what I've done. Every minute, every hour of every day. But life is like a smoke. In the end, I'm gonna choke. So all I do is live my life from day to day. You got to lick it, stick it, bend it, crease it, stack it, burn it, pack it, roll it, poke it, roach it, smoke it, then you pass it to me. You got to lick it, stick it, bend it, crease it, stack it, burn it, pack it, roll it, poke it, roach it, smoke it, then you pass it to me.
Come on, baby girl, let's get it going on. I'ma hit the highway and do it my way. It ain't no game, girl, so I don't play games. I keep it up straight, right up in your face. So make your mind up, cause life is too short. I got the vest on, boy, put your belt on. Stop acting all cool like Kanye West, boy. You be riding through the wire and the camera get on fire. You don't want that, no, I don't want that, no. This goes out to pimps and chicks, so slow. Hit the backseat when you're doing the licking, kissing, squeezing. Do the damn thing, man.
You got to lick it, stick it, bend it, press it, stack it, burn it, pack it, roll. All I want is roach it, smoke, Mary Joanna to me. You got to lick it, stick it, bend it, press it, stack it, burn it, pack it, roll. All I want is roach it, smoke, Mary Joanna to me. You got to lick it, stick it, bend it, press it, stack it. Evening, stick it, bend it, when I'm stacking, burn it, pack it, roll it, poke it, roach it, smoke it, then Joanna to me.
And welcome back to Raconteurs News. We had, thank you very much to Dr. Hawking for the seance earlier on the ident. He can't listen anymore, unfortunately, because he's got too much shit to do now that he can walk and fucking run about and dance and jump and fucking skip and all that. So he's not going to be listening anymore, but he certainly was a listener earlier on, and it's probably what inspired him, to be fair, to get to the heights that he got, to have a film about him. He's probably listening to Raconteurs News. Anyway, welcome back. I've got first of all tonight, I've got something that I need to read out. This is an appeal, so I just want to read this out to you. It's been written by Tina, who is Andy's significant other. So I'm just going to read this out. Okay, so I'm just going to read this out verbatim, and I just hope that it has some resonance with you. Okay, so it says, "Good evening, guys. This is Tina, Andy Young's other half. My daughter has asked us to make an appeal for your help. Her best friend's little sister, Millie, has a primary immunodeficiency disease, which is which is a group of more than 300 rare chronic disorders, in which part the body's immune system is missing or functions improperly. Millie is only 14 and is very poorly. She is a very poorly girl right now. She needs blood plasma injections to fight the disease. Unfortunately, blood supplies in this country are running low. Our appeal is not for money, it is an appeal to give blood. We understand that not everyone can do that, but if you can, and it is something you would like to do, then it would be gratefully appreciated. Millie has been given the last batch of the plasma medication in the country, which will last her a month. So that's the last one. We asked if we could raise money to get her more, and the medical team said no. It's about money. It's not about money. It's about people. They just aren't giving blood like they used to. I realise that some of our listeners may have strong feelings about the NHS, but this is not about politics. It is about a young girl and others like Millie who just want to get better. Thank you for listening to this, and a big thanks to Jason for reading it. Millie's big sister has written a message to anyone out there who wants to help. I'll end with that, and thanks again, and take care of yourselves. That's from Tina. So the other message below that, it is shorter, and it's from Millie's sister, and it's simply titled "Please Donate Blood." Millie is my sister. She truly is one in a million. Millie was diagnosed at 2 years old with a rare blood disorder where her immune system is compromised. There is no current cure. Millie is only 14 years old. Once a week, she has intramuscular injections of blood plasma. Millie has recently had a hospital admission for Spanish flu, on IV antibiotics for 2 weeks. Unfortunately, we had the bad news that Millie still has H. influenza. So, antibiotic tablets have started again, and we are back in the danger zone. We have also been allocated the last bottles of her plasma medication in the country. There is a national shortage of blood plasma. We need more blood donations, please. For anyone who can, please try. I know everyone can, but I know not everyone can, but please can you share our story for those who can. To book an appointment, call free on 0300 123 2323 or register online at www.blood.co.uk. So I don't think that there's anybody out there that doesn't empathise with these people. And having a blood issue myself, I can completely empathise with her, and I hope that that people do donate blood. Remember, it's not about money. We don't want money. Nobody wants money. They just want blood. So if you can and you're able to, then please, please, please make an appointment, make that thing, and just go and donate blood. Donate a little bit of blood. Just please. It would be awesome. And Aidy's back with. Listen, we've got. I wanted to. I'll just introduce everybody back while we get back to what we were talking about. I've got Aidy on the line with me. I've got Andy Young, my co-presenter, and my other erstwhile co-presenter, Paul Webster, who's joined us for this second hour. But Aidy, you had your hand up. I think you wanted to make a point on that issue.
Yeah, two things. Firstly, we should have got somebody to read it out that wasn't stoned and could read properly. But secondly, look at his face. Secondly, I used to give blood. I used to give blood, and it was as daft as I think I'd given about 20 something bagfuls of blood. It used to be a pint, but it's not anymore. And I simply went and had a tattoo done, and then they said I wouldn't be able to go back for. I think it was a year. I think you've got to be clear of having a tattoo done. And this must be 10 years ago, and I just never went back. And it is so easy to get out of the habit or move house and get off the list or lose track of it. But based on what you just read out, I'll be making an appointment tomorrow.
I'd just like to say, I think you did pretty well. You did far better than I'd done reading out in my present condition, Jason. So But I was just thinking, knowing what our listeners like faces like, wouldn't that be like trying to get blood out of the stoned?
Nice one, Andy.
That was funny, that.
I'm sure Lindsay will use that one.
Yeah.
Webby, you're here, mate. How you doing, pal? Have you had a good day?
Yeah, it's not been too bad. It's been a long one, but it's not. If we all come home safe, it's always a good day.
Excellent, brilliant. And we were just reminiscing earlier on about last night's show, a great show last night. Thanks for introducing us to Lindsay. I'm sure she'll be back on many, many times. If we're ever at a loose end and so is she, then we could sit and talk about all sorts of shit, I suppose. No holds barred.
Get Rob Halford and her together. Get Rob Halford and Lindsay on together. That'd be an awesome show.
Rob Halford would not stand a fucking chance with her.
So what we're going to talk about in this second hour, boys?
Well, you know me and the news. I only sort of catch little bits. But you know this thing with poisoning this Russian guy?
Oh, man. Yeah.
You can put your head in your... But I just want to ask one question, and it is a genuine question. It really is. How it appeared to me was... It was all reported. Nobody did anything for 3 or 4 days. And then all of a sudden, everybody's round this park bench wearing these chemical suits and whatever. For 4 days, nobody did anything. And, you know, everybody's dog, missus, mother and son could walk past it. And even go and sit on the bench and get a selfie taken.
I'll tell you what happened.
You can even see on the photographs, can't you? You can even see you've got 3 people in hazmat suits, and then behind the police tape, there's a fireman with just his helmet on and not even covered. And then you've got an article in the Times that stated that Salisbury A&E did actually accept people who came believing they could have symptoms of a nerve agent. But none of them, apart from the 2 that are claiming, none of them had any symptoms of nerve agent who attended A&E. So there's a lot of bullshit going on.
Shall I tell you what happened? Right, it were 4 days before they started all fucking going around in the spacesuits or whatever. Only selected people, because obviously those are the ones. But during them 4 days, you know what they thought? They thought, all right, this is fucking MI5 fucking knocking somebody off or whatever. But then they thought to themselves, oh shit, we need a distraction because we're just about to take fucking food out of the mouths of the poorest children in the fucking country. So we need a fucking distraction. And what better distraction than Putin? And you know, Putin, he plays along with it. And I know he does come out with some good stuff. And I fucking prefer Putin to fucking any of these cunts that are in this country. That includes you, Adi.
Bless you. Love you. Yeah, it's and what amazes me though is that, you know, I hardly even watch the news, but even I thought, hang on a minute, 3 or 4 days, surely people have got to see that there is some agenda, some distraction, something going on here that just isn't right somehow. And either they've created something, or they're taking advantage of something, or they're using it as a distraction for something else, a day to bury, you know, bad news, or whatever they're doing, but there is something going on.
But they can't, you see, they're so confused, they can't put the finger on it, because everything's been indoctrinated, it's been stuck in their head on a subconscious level. You've only got to look at that. Did you see that Newsnight photo? Newsnight, what they did, they got a picture, and they were absolutely fucking incredible. But they'd photoshopped, right, Jeremy Corbyn with a fucking Russian hat on behind a red background that were clearly Russian, that had got fucking Kremlin in background. And that's the backdrop to this fucking... We're supposed to think these people are impartial. For fuck's sake, you've just called fucking Jeremy Corbyn a communist. It's photoshopped. It's clearly photoshopped. What the fuck?
I'll tell you what bothered me,
just to keep us distracted.
I'll tell you what bothered me, pal, was when Putin won by a fucking landslide in the elections over there, the BBC showed a picture of Putin, and I immediately questioned it by saying, why has Putin not got a Jeremy Corbyn hat on? You know, if they're putting a Russian hat on Corbyn, surely they should have done that if him and Putin are in cahoots type thing. But it is a sad state of affairs when you're actually listening to a premier of another country who is speaking more sense than your own prime minister. And it honestly, what they've done, especially when I was listening to the debate in Parliament, it was a fucking, it was embarrassing. It was really, truly embarrassing that these people around the world think that we voted these people to lead us. They couldn't fucking lead themselves out of the bathroom. They're fucked. Politics is fucked.
I'm always amazed that people think they need a leader. I mean, where the fuck are you going?
Well, that killed it, AD, for fuck's sake. What the fucking hell are you doing there? That was like a conversation killer. We just all fucking dropped dead. It was like you said that and everyone just fucking dropped dead.
No, it's because it made so much sense. You were all astounded at my knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely were. We absolutely were. And just for the record, I think I did a really good. I read that out well, and I resent your criticism. You know, because I have had a joint, and I have had a drink, and you know, this is. So for me to get it out like that, we are adding any editorial to it as well, apart from just that one little bit where, you know, that one little bit of editorial. I think that went well, and you know, I think mainstream media awaits me.
You didn't say cunt. That's always a bonus.
I tell you what, I'd like to just jump in there with Jason. You mentioning people in the chat room and on Facebook earlier. There's somebody posting on Facebook who been connected to quite a while. I believe I've spoken to him a few times when I used to speak on Paul's gas group on Skype. And he started listening regular now, so I'd like to give a shout out to Owen over in Portugal. Got a pretty amazing place over there. Paul was talking about him actually on air without mentioning his name the other week, and somebody was posting in Facebook, "What a load of shit! Nobody lives like that."
Yeah, so, I remember it well.
That guy certainly does live like that.
Nice to have you listening, mate. I hope things are looking up for you.
Well, we appreciate all our listeners, don't we? I mean, fucking hell. Anybody who listens, you know.
We didn't mention Patrick in the chat room as well. Patrick's one of our longest-lasting loyal listeners, so good to see you listening again, Patrick. Get that bloody Skype sorted out, and you'll be able to call in and have a chat with us sometime.
Brilliant. Oh. Owen.
I posted in the chat room that maybe we should change the name from Raconteurs News to some Northern Blokes. And then Shitty Leeds said maybe some grumpy middle-aged Northern Blokes. Which sounds about right.
Yeah, the thing is, we're not grumpy though. We're quite upbeat, aren't we? We do try to have a laugh as well, along the lines. You know what I mean?
The thing is, I'll tell you what. You know when they say the truth will set you free, but first it will really piss you off. I've thankfully got past that stage now, and I just look at it now, and I just laugh, and I think, how could I have been so fucking stupid? I really do. And then I think to myself, how can everybody else still be that fucking stupid?
Yeah, I think we all do that. We all go through that.
Yeah, of course we do.
I went through various phases. I went through the anger phase and then the shouting at people phase who wouldn't listen and all that kind of thing. And do you know what? When you actually just let that go and you don't let it bother you like it. God, it used to rile me to fuck that people wasn't interested. Get ready for your little quip here, Ed. Nobody wanted to listen to the Bills of Exchange. That used to really fucking wind me up. But no,
every day's a school day, you know.
But that's what I mean. If people don't want to listen, fuck them. I'm not interested in people who don't want to learn anymore because I've never advocated anybody to go and stop paying bills, but go and fucking learn why you're paying for something that you're not liable for.
Mm. I've actually, one of the chaps I was speaking to earlier, before you came on, Webby, I said that I'd helped a couple of people earlier today, with like people collecting money. And one of the chaps, his wife's quite badly disabled, and I understand she took a turn for the worse. And once I explained to him that you don't owe these people any money, if your contract was with Eon, electric, gas, water, Orange, EE, whoever it was with, it wasn't with this twat that's knocking at your door and trying to get money out of you. That's not who it's with, so it's nothing to do with him. And then his wife came in and said, well, yeah, but we still owe the money. So I spent about 5 minutes just explaining that actually you didn't borrow anything. They just facilitated credit. And she actually sat there and went, And then I got a text this afternoon to say, I think she gets that. I've told her to watch that video you pointed us to on YouTube. Fucking breakthrough. Because you've even got, you've got people feeling guilty about not being able to pay it back.
Well, that's what I was saying. Yeah, exactly, Aid. I was saying that today. I said, do you know the fact that you have these instilled morals and principles that you must pay your bills, the fact that you adhere to that so well, you attempt to pay your bills with debt. Now, if I've got debt and I put more debt to it, all I've got is more debt. And that's exactly what the national debt is. Every time somebody tries to pay a bill and does not set the debt off with the signature to the government where it should go, the debt gets worse. And every 7 years, all debts used to be forgiven, both locally and nationally, because it's not conducive to a good economy unless the economy is being wound down and the country's being asset stripped, which it is being.
Oh, it's plain as a nose on your face, that, Paul. I've just noticed Shitty Leeds has brought something up in the chat room that we actually discussed a little bit in the break. I said to Jason, shall we talk about it tonight before Aid joined us? And he's talking about the felling of the trees in Sheffield. He says it's to do with the 5G smart city shit. So
right. Okay.
I suppose that would make sense because all the trees are going to die instantly, probably, shortly before we all do. But
right, is that what you think it is? Because I've noticed on the local news that you see the felling trees in areas where they're coming up against fucking older people that are in their houses, that bought their houses for, I don't know, 5,000 quid, a billion years ago, and now they're worth 250,000. It's quite a well-to-do area where they're doing it. So, obviously they like the trees, and it's done. It's served a purpose as it's woken up another section of society. It's woken up those, and these they've got time on their hands because they're retired. These are retired people in areas, well-to-do areas of Sheffield, and the trees are being cut down from them. They don't understand why. They probably don't understand that it's the 5G thing, if that's what it is. I don't know. I don't know much about it. But they're coming onto the sharp end of the law, just like all the the fracking people, the people that are in the campaigning against fracking. And this is where it's moving along, because the fracking and this Sheffield thing, you've brought another demographic in who are going to be asking questions as to why this is happening. Why is this happening? There's just no reason for it. These trees have been here years. We love these trees, and when people are fracking close to well-to-do villages and things like that, because most of this fracking it doesn't take place in city centres. It doesn't take place in places where I live, where it's there's tons and tons of people. It takes place in the countryside, and that's all inevitably going to be close to people who are well-to-do, have got money, who've worked their lives, perhaps retired, perhaps they're even. But the biggest worry for them is. It's not the environment, the water table being fucking poisoned and all that. The biggest worry for them is that the house prices are going to go down. But that in itself is a good thing.
It's something to kick their ass and get them into thinking.
Yeah.
I also, I think I read an article that was saying that the reason for the 5G stuff, they were going to cut trees down, or people were talking about them cutting trees down because it does have an effect on the 5G smart grid. You know, it must disrupt the signals type thing. So I don't know. There's something not right about everything that's going on. I mean, there's fucking houses being thrown up near me, and do you know what? The fucking land could be like a 6x2, and they still try and build a fucking house on it. You've got people who can't afford the houses that we've already got. So they're obviously being paid contract money, like Carillion from governments or whatever. And how they're going to make the money? They're going to steal our equity because people are going to go to banks thinking that they're going to borrow money, and they're not. They're going to actually facilitate their own fucking mortgage. And then the bank's going to come and say, hey, you can't afford that mortgage you signed up for. We're going to have to take the house off you. And that's after they've securitised your mortgage and fucking claimed the insurance. People have got to wake up to it. Nobody can do this for people. It's like Adi was saying, people waiting for fucking leaders. Do it yourself. Go and read. Go and look. Put omnibus of fucking EastEnders on Sunday or something. I don't know.
Or just don't touch the alcohol.
There was an advert on back end of last year from one of the mortgage lenders, and it said about, "I will lend you the money to buy your new home." So I wrote to the advertising standards and said, "That's wrong. They're not lending any money. They're facilitating credit." And the answer I got back was, "Yeah, you're right, but, you know, it's within the spirit." And what the fuck? Within the spirit? Well, I'll tell you what. I'll sell you a bottle of ketchup that's really fucking salad cream and see if that's still in the spirit. The fuck?
Maybe it's the thought that counts. Maybe it's the thought that counts.
Yeah. It's within the spirit.
That's as bad as these warrant applications that say in the vicinity of whatever county court. What the fuck is the vicinity?
No, really, that's like selling somebody a bottle of ketchup that is actually a bottle of blood that you've drawn out of their veins while they've been stood waiting to be served.
It's just fucking ridiculous. It's within the spirit of the advert. Fuck off.
Listen, I've got something that's within the spirit.
My name is Stephen Hawking, and I used to listen to Raconteurs News.
So that was the spirit that came through today earlier on. So apparently he still can't fucking talk, even though he's like, you know, brown bread and that.
It could be grandmother, you never know.
Anyways, look, we're being fucked right, left, and centre, aren't we? We all know that, and it ain't fucking good. We've got this fucking agenda where everything's being merged into each other, right? But if you're an indigenous, like we were talking about in the first hour, and I think we ought to get Webby in on this. If you're an indigenous white male, you're not being fucking white heterosexual male. You're not being infused with anybody, and that includes your wife. You're being separated from everybody, okay, because of the perception of what they think that you think of them, that's been put into the fucking into our subconscious by the TV and all that sort of shit. So we've got people fucking divided everywhere, and and people will say, "Oh, you can't say that. It's a fucking racist if you." All right, I'll tell you what then. I'll tell you what I'll do, right? You're accusing me of being racist, right? So what I will do is I will go to the Association of White Heterosexual Middle-Aged Grumpy Bastards, and I will get them to pay for my fucking defence, and I'll sue you for calling me that. And then I'll go, but I won't, will I? Because there fucking ain't one. Is there? There ain't
Yeah.
one.
I mean, I couldn't give a toss that there ain't one.
No,
But
but
what I do
no,
hate is
neither
the
could
fact that
I.
there's everything else. Yeah.
But it's just that. Well, you fucking.
The thing is, if you're white heterosexual these days, even white people are saying that all white people are racist, and only white people can be racist. I've never been racist in my life. If you're a cunt, you're a cunt. It doesn't matter what colour you are. I just don't. I don't get the racist stuff. I really don't.
I mean, I've had, and Jason has as well, because I've been stood next to him when been working in nightclubs, and somebody will come and ask for a piece of music and will say, "Sorry, mate, it's not appropriate." Oh, is it because I'm black? And I've said, "No, it's because you're a cunt." No, to do with your skin colour, mate. Fuck off. Because it ain't. It really ain't.
Well,
It's nothing to do.
I came across it. I was working DJing in a bar, and the one of the doormen were, in fact, one of the doormen. No, not T.
Oh.
Not T. No, but this were a lot earlier. This was like 1999, something like that. But one of the doormen, he told me this fucking tale. He was a black geezer, and he goes. He was the drummer in Moloko. Remember Moloko? Bring it back.
Bring it back.
He was the
Sing
drummer
it
in Moloko, right? And quit the band just before they had that hit. Right. So this is right, and it's on. Anyway, and he were talking and he was saying something, and he said to me, and he said he were fucking really aggressive. He were really fucking aggressive at me and talking. And I said, well, you should be used to it. And he said, why? Because I'm black. I said, no, because you're a fucking doorman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's... But that's how.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Is people get into that fucking victim mentality, and it's not other people, because if you didn't know anything, if you'd have not been taught anything, or anything had been said to you at any point during your life at this age, you wouldn't even fucking know what racism was. And when you think about it as well, race. Fucking race. What is it? What does that word suggest? Competition.
Just a winner and a loser.
A competition. It's a competition.
Yeah.
And it's nuts, and we adhere to it, and we just fucking.
Well, I'll tell you how indoctrination works, and it's going back to again the conversation I had with that chap with a disabled wife earlier today. I said to him, "Does it make any sense at all that if I lend you my lawnmower and then somebody else goes round to collect it from you, that you'll give him it back?" And he said, "No." I said, "So why does it make any sense to you that somebody knocking at your door to collect some money that you don't owe to them, why does that make some sense?" And he looked at me and he went, I said, "I'll tell you why. Because you watch programs like The Sheriffs Are Coming. That's why it makes sense to you. Because you watch that shit and you believe it."
Yeah. And that's what they do. I mean, for most people, for a lot of people, TV is life. That's, whatever the TV tells them, they'll believe, and they'll watch shitty fucking shitty soap operas like EastEnders, where somebody who died 10 years ago suddenly reappears, and it happens 3 or 4 fucking times, and then you think to yourself, what the fuck? And that's me. That's coming from me, who doesn't watch it. I've not watched a fucking soap opera for years and years and years. And I fucking won't, because I think it was Richard D. Hall that said it, that if you're watching a soap opera, it's like having an open sewer running through your living room. There's just that much shit in them. It's fucking unbelievable. But then it's in everything. Go on, Paul, you want to say something?
You've got people, though, who, the line gets blurry between the soap opera and reality. How fucking many people voted for Deirdre to be released from fucking jail? What are you doing? There's people going to fucking jail for non-payment of a bill that they can't afford. Oh, fuck them, they should pay what they owe. but a fictional character in jail. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I tell you what, if I do watch a television thing, it's off the internet, and it's typically with me, it's American sort of drama stuff or whatever. And thankfully, I can see through the shit that's on there and in the storylines. But one that absolutely grabbed me was, and this is only 2 or 3 weeks ago I watched this, there was some American police drama thing, and the storyline was to do with soldiers, American soldiers, going to, I can't remember if it was Afghanistan or wherever.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, there was Tom Selleck, right? And he read out this thing as himself. If you or anybody you know has been affected by the storyline tonight, then here's a number to contact. And then it said, CBS cares. Now, CBS's logo is a single eye, and the same wankers that own fucking CBS own the banks who supply all the fucking money to the arms dealers who buy all the fucking guns for the poor American soldiers to go out there and get fucking killed.
Yeah, but war's good.
After they've stolen all the equity off the people to do that.
Oh, of course, yeah, and continue to do, yeah. And then charge them for rebuilding their company with a democracy. Yeah. And let's just put these Rothschild wankers in charge instead. Yeah. So
Rothschild himself said, give me control of a nation's money supply. Don't care who makes it laws. And that is what we're up against. If we do not stop that banking system doing what they're doing, and we can do it, I'm working with people now who have got something. It's beautiful. It's almost poetic if it works. I think it works. But we'll just have to wait and see on that one. But every man and woman can do this and take control back. They've just got to start doing a bit of research. Stop saying, oh, that's going over my head. Where's EastEnders? Just have a think. Have a think. What do you want for your children or your grandchildren? What do you want to leave?
People have stopped listening to their heart and the gut and the soul. You know, how can it possibly be right that somebody else can come and collect some money for somebody else? It don't make any sense, right? It's just not logical. Yet every fucking day you hear about, you know, somebody who's had some 2 bald men dressed in black in a little white van who have threatened a single mum with 2 kids that they're going to come back at 7 o'clock tonight and empty their house if they can't come up with 600 quid because they haven't paid a parking fine or a phone bill or something, or a TV license fine, you know, and scaring the life out of them. Because people are just used to the fear factor. If I don't do that, that'll happen. Instead of listening to the gut and thinking, hang on a minute, how can that possibly be right? You know, logic says that is not right.
No.
It happened with my cousin's missus. Unfortunately, she had actually forgotten about a TV licence, and when TV licensing called round, she was oblivious at this point. She answered the door. She allows the fella to come in. She's watching Jeremy Kyle. She's banged to rights. She fills everything in. She's got a fine. It goes to court. The deck Marston's turned up and is saying that the truck's just an hour away. We'll have to start looking at your car. And he starts looking at the car on the drive and he's marking it off. He says, can I come in? And she let him in. She shouldn't have, but she did. But he didn't levy anything and she didn't sign anything. He said, well, I'm going to call back. And I said, and she'd actually sent 2 Marstons, she's on like a disability living allowance, and she'd sent all the stuff off. I think they wanted £107 a week. I think she got 127. Something like that. It was stupid. And I said, right, ring the office up and tell them that's you've not even wrote back to me. Why is he here? And I said, start bollocking them. And I don't know if I can or not. I said, just do it. Just ring them up, bollock them and say, this dickhead's turned up here and he's saying this, he's threatening me with that. She rang them up. Within 10 minutes, the guy's on the phone apologising. Can I come round? I think we've got off on the wrong foot here. It's all bullshit. It really is all bullshit. These dickheads who turn up at houses, they need to be told 2 words, fuck off.
Well, I actually encourage people who I know to, if they get anything like that, ring me, because it's got to the point where I like to go and have fun with them, especially if they've got coppers with them. Because most of the coppers, as soon as you say, "Are you here just to keep the peace?" they'll go, "Oh, yeah, I am. Thank you very much. You know, I accept your oath and I hold you to it." They step straight back, and I just say, "Can you just keep your eye on these two fellas here? Because they're clearly not... they clearly are aggressive, because otherwise this poor woman here wouldn't feel harassed, alarmed and distressed. So can you just keep your eye on them?" And I tell you what, the coppers turn straight round, they agree with you, and 9 out of 10 times they're great. You know,
Listen,
and people...
Sorry, go on, you carry on.
I just got to say, Jason's absolutely right. It's the V word, it's victim. People are victims. And it's to the point where they all... I can't say they enjoy being a victim, but they take some kind of...
They need to be a victim.
They don't know anything else.
They
don't know anything else.
To be a victim.
They take some kind of brotherhood, if you like, because everybody else is a victim as well. And it's like they're in this club of victims.
Well, listen, what I want to do, you're listening to Raconteurs News. It's we've got about 15 minutes left. We'll probably end up going a bit over, you know, knowing us fuckers.
Shall I just tell you something interesting, Jason? You were saying about the grumpy old white Northern English men thing. I did find it was interesting to note when I looked in the back end of YouTube the other week. I looked at our statistics for who was listening. Like, you know, we're getting a few more each week, each month, and what have you. It's quite encouraging. But one thing I found, which was quite striking, was that our YouTube listenership is entirely, and this was for 28 days, entirely male. No females listen to us at all. But here's the thing: during that 28-day period, there was a comment on the Max Egan show from someone with an anonymous name, but I don't know who it is, and they're definitely female. So
it's because you've not got the sex appeal of Max Egan. That's what it is.
Yeah, but we know there's not any females who log in regularly to the chat room, but there's a lot of females that comment regularly on Facebook. So we know that there is a split male-female. I just wonder why YouTube would making it look like no women are listening.
Mm.
Well, that's an interesting thing with Jordan Peterson there, because Jordan Peterson said that statistically, YouTube is a male-dominated environment. You know, I think he said the opposite for women is like Instagram. That's more female. Even though there's a lot of females looking and researching into his work, predominantly YouTube is male-dominated. So I think it's probably bears out the statistics that Andy.
Well, I just thought it was odd that no males listened for an entire month, yet we got a comment on it that I know came from a female.
Yeah.
It was just quite funny, that. But, yeah. I mean, I hope... Well, no, I don't hope. I know that there are women who enjoy listening to what we talk about just as well as men do. So I think those statistics are a bit skewed. Maybe, like you say, Paul, YouTube's a dominated environment by men. But, yeah, I just thought it was quite funny.
Adi, you have up.
Well, I've got a suggestion. What we could do is you could do Raconteurs News on a Tuesday night, but on a Monday night we could have 4 grumpy old northern bastards putting the world to rights.
Well, I'm up for that. It gives me one less guest a week to book, so I could fucking do. I could certainly do that. Listen, what I wanted to do, because Paul only came in on the second hour, I wanted to go right back to the beginning to what we were talking about. And because he's a football fan, as you can see from his You'll Never Walk Alone Liverpool, I don't know, is it a towel or a throw or what is it?
It's a blanket, but I'll just throw it over the back of the couch.
Cool. Anyway, as you're a football fan, I was talking with these two earlier on, and I really couldn't get much out of them because they don't really know very much about football. It's not their fault; they're just not interested in it, and fair enough to them, and probably fucking all the better for them as well because they're not worried about how the football team's going on.
The question you asked, Jason, wasn't really about football.
Well, no, it wasn't about football. No, but what do you what do you make of this this FA directive that they're doing that all 28 England teams under the auspices of the FA are going to have mandatorily they're going to have to employ a coach from a black or an ethnic minority background. They're going to have to. It's going to be mandatory. There's no choice. You've just got to do it. Now, I mean, as a football fan, just and by the look on your face, it's the first that I think you've heard of it. So just give me what your thoughts on that as a football fan.
What a fucking pile of shite. If you're good enough, be a manager, be a coach, be a player. If you're good enough, it doesn't matter what fucking colour you are. But to start saying that you must have somebody, what if they're shit? I don't want somebody who's shit at my club. I wouldn't want somebody to work with me who's shit. It doesn't matter what fucking colour. This is the divide and conquer shit again. Yeah. They're going to make it so that people are going to go, I don't like him because he's not of my colour, and that's because he's got that job. He's got that job because he's not my... It's just divide and conquer. It's fucking wankers. I hope that answered your question, Jason.
It does. And I also made the point that, you know, the guy that is a black or of an ethnic minority that gets hired, does he then think, well, they only hired me because I'm black and ethnic minority, you know? And I made a couple of points about how it's going to divide people. What if you've got a guy who's a coach at a club or a coach in England and he's got his mate who's also a good coach and he tries to get his mate into the England setup, but his mate can't get into the England setup simply because they've got to get somebody who's black or ethnic or a minority. And like you say, if someone's good enough... They're good enough, and plus, why do we presuppose that ethnic minorities want to be football coaches?
Well, that's the point. We are presupposing a lot of things. Look at the BBC. I know people who applied for jobs and been told that they're only accepting ethnic minorities. Well, it's not going to be that fucking long before white people are an ethnic minority. Anyway, so... Again, it's going to be a divide and fucking conquer. It riles me, Jason, because if there's one thing that I fucking detest, it's somebody goes, oh, is it because I'm black, or is it because I'm Asian, is it because I'm Chinese? No, it's got nothing to do with that. If you go enough, yeah.
Well, it is the perfect demonstration of what you're talking about, Paul. Owens just typed on Facebook, what the fuck, on merit, not colour. I mean,
yeah, exactly right.
Completely right, yeah.
It baffles me. It baffles me. That is the first time I've heard that, Jason, and that's fucking ridiculous. It really is.
Well, that's a new direction. I've been listening to. Listen, I've been out on the road today, and I've been down to Birmingham, and. I've been listening to debates on radio stations, you know, the ones we're talking about, Talk Sport and all that shit, and what they say, the point that they were making were that there is a huge amount of ethnic minorities and black people players, right? I would say they probably outnumber whites, you know. Why, indigenous English players? And that's the problem we've got with fucking England squad, because there's no English players coming through because everyone's foreign. So we've got tons and tons. Perhaps they don't want to go into management. Ooh, how many players go into management? Paul, how many players that have recently retired have gone into management? How many? And I'm not talking about black ones, I'm not talking about white, I'm just talking about all of them. How many? Not very fucking many. They don't do it because they're shit at it. If they're a good player, they're usually fucking shit. The good managers are usually the ones that were shit fucking players and never got anywhere. Alec Ferguson, whose career were ended. And then they sort of put everything into coaching and doing all that sort of shit. So to have quotas and to make it mandatory, for a start, it's got to be illegal. You can't exclude a fucking race of people from a fucking job.
That is what they'll do, though. It won't be illegal because they'll put it into legislation that must be stipulated. It's the same with what Jordan Peterson was fighting in Canada last year before, where they were putting a bill through where they were making it law that you would have to, by law, choose the preferred pronoun of the transgender, male or female, man, woman, whatever. If they wanted to be called they or ze or moi, I don't know. If they wanted to be called that, it was going to be law. And that's what he fought against. He says, if somebody comes to me and said, in his clinical psychologist practice, if they said to me, I really prefer if you refer to me in this way, I would refer to them in that way out of politeness, but straight away I would ask them why, because that is a condition. Why do you want to be referred to as that? What are the issues behind that? But he said I would still be polite, but to say that they're going to put it into law, that's taking control of my speech. It's compelled speech that you are being told you must use, and that's going to be illegal. Look at what we've got in Europe. We can't question things that are illegal, and that is why now, with this common law is still the true law of this country, yet they will not recognise it. But there's ways and means to forcing them, and it's the people who are getting off their asses to go and challenge these fuckers now in courts that are making changes. Not these people who are just sitting at home and criticising everybody else. I've had it. Where's your proof? Where's the proof? Where's the court seal on that document stating you won? Fucking hell, if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it now. Fucking go on, Ada.
There's no rosettes, medals, or merit badges. You just know you've won when they leave you the fuck alone.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Right. That's absolutely right.
Just getting back to the football bit.
Go on.
And this is purely a football thing. I do believe if you've got and I don't know why I give a shit, if you've got a national squad of anything, then the top guy should be of that country. So if you've got a Welsh rugby team, the top guy should be Welsh. If you've got an English football team, the top guy should be English. If you've got a Scottish netball team, then the one at the top should be Scottish. But the one thing that I would say, which is where it all does fall down, the only quota I think they should have to make is that 20 or 30% minimum should come through the youth system so that kids can actually do something. So, I don't know, if you've got... I'm saying this because Webby's got his Liverpool floor mat there. He didn't pick up on the floor mat. The Liverpool FC should have a certain percentage of kids coming up through that youth scheme, just to encourage the kids, but also to encourage the coaches to want to coach the kids, not just be able to get the checkbook out and go to Spain and get whoever.
Well, we've already got it. I mean, the England under-21s won the World Cup. Ryan Brewster scored a hat-trick in the semi-finals. He's a Liverpool player. We've not seen anything of him as yet. And it's very doubtful. Many players, you've got to be something special. A hat-trick, funnily enough, in a semi-final of a World Cup for your international team doesn't guarantee you that you're going to get a look in at the first team. See, the likes of Gerrard, players like that, I remember Steven Gerrard coming through as a young kid, and from his first touch, I mean, he was a fucking hothead in those days. He made a lot of mistakes. He learned from them quick, but he made a hell of a lot of mistakes. But you could tell straight away he was a player. From the first touch of the ball to the first pass he played, you could tell the lad could play. And there's not many players get that chance. And in a team like Liverpool now, we've got like the likes of Salah and Firmino and Mane who are taking all the headlines. It's going to be hard for those lads to get in there. But, I agree with what you're saying. But the game is not a game anymore. It's a business.
It's a business.
It's ruined it. It's ruined the game for me.
It's like everything. Listen, you're listening to Raconteurs News. We've got to 9 o'clock and we're still fucking talking. So I think if everyone's in agreement, we'll carry on talking and we'll give a little bit of Raconteurs extra for everybody to talk about, to listen to. Listen, I wanted to bring this point up with you as well, Webby, and everybody really. But when we've got a situation where we've got corporations have taken over as foods, corporations have taken over as leisure. There's not many independent pubs left and things, places to go that are completely independent. They're mostly corporations. Corporations have taken over our lives, really. They've taken over our police force. The police force now work for the corporations before they work for you, even though they're supposed to be fucking public servants and you pay the fuckers, cunts. But I don't want to swear. And now we've got corporations taking over our football, our sports. Now, I know football is in this, and there are a lot of corporations that are taking over our sports and our football teams. But what I wanted to give a special mention to was the new deal that Lewis Hamilton got this today, I think, which means that he's going to be paid. He's going to be paid £770,000 a week because because that's what he's worth. The corporations have taken over his sport. £770,000 a week, right? And on top of that, he gets £120 million in add-ons. That's per year. Now, this is a bloke who's driving a fucking car around a track.
It's everything, isn't it? I mean, I was talking the other day to some lads who are Everton fans, and they were saying they wanted Fat Sam out already. I said, he signed an 18-month contract worth $6.5 million. How much is it going to cost you to get rid of him? And who are you going to get in? This ridiculousness about money. For me, I'm like you, Jason. Football for me was it was the beautiful game. It was a game that I could play with passion. It was a game that I lost. Any of my troubles or worries or anything were gone for 90 minutes if I was watching or playing.
Yeah.
Now there's nothing to the game. Yeah, it's beautiful to watch, but everybody's priced out of it who's got that passion, and the people who are going to games now are paying over the odds to watch pussies throw themselves about on the fucking floor. I detest the fact that these people. I understand gamesmanship. I understand getting touched in the box and you need to go down to get a penalty, but I don't agree with it. I've never been brought up to play football like that. But the money has changed all that, and the worst thing for me. They pioneered that VAR for the Liverpool game. And it even got us a penalty that I didn't think was a penalty. But for me, that VAR's got to fucking go. It ruins the game for me.
Of course it does.
If the referee and the linesman are shite, If the referee and linesman are shy, they've had a shit game as well. But they're part of the fucking game.
Yeah, exactly. Of course they are. That's what it should be. It should be the referee's opinion. If the referee agrees with the opinion of the linesman, then it gives a fucking, like it used to be. You know, a linesman sometimes will give a throw in the wrong way, and the fucking referee would overrule them. It doesn't happen now. All they do is they just fucking. It's just they're so fucking afraid of being captured, making a mistake, and then you know when the VAR is just fucking utter bollocks. Look, mistakes are part of the game, and that's why that's what should stay. You know, we've been on wrong end of mistakes.
Yeah, if the referee makes no mistakes because he's got something like that helping him, then there's no talking points. Because if you're going to use it for one thing or another, you've got to use it for everything. Go on, Ed.
What the heck are people going to talk about when they go to the barbers?
Yeah, I don't think you need to fucking worry about that, man.
There I was muted. John Hull's just
Andy.
giving you a thumbs up, guys. But I was just going to say, on the subject of football, that's a dog's bollocks coffee making machine you got there.
Hey, isn't it? Just one thing about what you two have just been talking about, and how it is now a business. And it's another indoctrination because we're all indoctrinated into think that the only thing that's got any value in this world is the one thing that don't fucking have any value. Money.
Well, that's it, isn't it, Eddie? Jason's just been saying about all these corporations that have taken over. The biggest corporation is the one that employed us from fucking birth, which we are still employees. This is why we have no rights. And if people don't go and learn, then they're always going to be kept away from what rightly is theirs. And waiting for somebody to get it for them and give it to them and show them, it's a waste of fucking time. People can't do that for other people. I know people personally. I think Andy touched on it just as you were finishing the first hour about people who do things for other people and expect rewards. I know people who've gone out of the way for people and expecting nothing, and they've been dropped like a fucking brick through no fault of their own. People don't contact them anymore, and that creates a very bad taste in people's mouths. And we're talking about paying it forward. Are those people who've been shit on like that ever going to pay it forward? Well, the thing is, some don't. But to sit there with information that can free one man or one woman and not give it to them for nothing, whether they do anything with it or not, I just don't get, because, we share this reality. Unfortunately, we share this reality with people who aren't very nice. And the people who want to be nice have got to put a bit of trust in other people. I hate using the term in this movement, whatever the fucking truth movement is. No. It's about talking to people, but sometimes you've got to put trust in people and say, there's the information. As soon as they turn to me, and I've been offered thousands of pounds to go to court, do paperwork for people and represent them. And I've just refused it flatly because people have got to do it. Nobody did it for me. Nobody could have done it for me because I wouldn't have known what the fuck it was they were doing if I didn't learn it. And as I said before, I never would say, right, people, stop paying all your fucking bills because you're not liable, just fight them. No. Carry on doing what you're doing because you've got a life, may have kids, you've got fucking bills to pay, you've got mortgages. Before you start stopping paying any of that, learn why you shouldn't be paying it or why you shouldn't be paying as much. If you wanted to pay yourself back from a mortgage, then you should be able to change the terms and conditions of that agreement because there is no contract. So you can change those terms and conditions. It's just nobody knows how or why they should change them. And that's where people's individuality has got to come in. The information's there. I've set up that Facebook page, lower the cost of all your bills to zero. Learning the bills of exchange. Go and learn it.
Come on, AD. You said you were going to put a cliche in.
I did. It's because we're a third world country.
He said that
Can
every
I
time you
just,
mentioned bills of exchange, you were going to put a cliche in. Listen, guys, I'm going to the port making machine, and so if you guys carry on, and I think we'll probably if everyone's up for that, we'll probably go to 5:30 or something like that. And
Whatever.
Yeah, cool, man.
all right.
I just wanted to say I've been keeping an eye on the chat room, and Super Leeds was offering to join us, and I said, "Well, get yourself Skype sorted out, and you're welcome anytime we haven't got a guest." And I just jogged over to Facebook and saw that Owen is saying he's fortunate enough to be out of the UK. He's seeing life in a whole new light. I'd like to share my first year with you one night. What do you reckon?
Cool.
I'll be well up for that.
I have spoken to Owen about coming on. He was well up for coming on for a chat.
Oh, yeah, because I think I said to you, I think it'd be nice if we could talk to Owen, because he's been through some rough times, but
I think he's got some. I think he's got some good stuff to tell with the experiences he's had.
Yeah, I'll look forward to hearing that, definitely.
Well, I look forward to Skyping you 3 weeks tonight from Thailand so that I can tell you what a good time I'm having.
Brilliant. But what I wanted to say is, if any of the listeners want to, these nights when we're just having a chat between 2 or 3 or 4 of us, want to Skype in and have a chat. I know Patrick's done it with us a few times. Get your Skype sorted, Pat. I know you'll be a regular call-in. And 1 or 2 others. So
and you don't have to be white, racist, northern, grumpy old bastard, but if you are, it helps.
Do you know what? You can even be a cunt and still come on here.
Yeah, you can even be a football fan and still come on here.
Oh, God, you're pushing it now, eh?
No, but listen, I try and bring everything back to the one thing, and it is one thing that drives everything, and that's the myth of money. Yeah. So I know I take the piss out of Paul every time he mentions the bills of exchange, but the guy's right. The guy's right. He's right. You know, and even if you don't understand the bills of exchange, and Paul's a lot better versed in it than I am, the bottom line is the world has been monetized, and it ain't for your benefit. Because the only thing that's got value nowadays, or the only thing that people perceive as having a value, is the one thing that fucking hasn't. Being honourable, caring about other people, and paying things forward are all free. And they're worth $1 million more than anything that you can fold up or put a queen's head on and stick in your wallet.
You're spot on. You're spot on, because when I started with all my troubles and everything kicked off, the people who I expected to be there didn't seem for dust. So-called best friends who aren't even friends anymore, never mind best friends. But if it wasn't for a select few, I wouldn't be sat here talking about things like this at all. And the fact is, Eddie, you're right. There's not that piece of fucking paper that you get out and attempt to pay for something. It's impossible to do. It's a piece of fucking paper backed by nothing other than this. Your labour, that is it.
You know when Jason first said that to me, I can't remember how many years ago, right? I'd probably been out of the finance industry probably 7 years, something like that. And when he said it, I thought, what? Couldn't believe it. And then when you go look at it, and I'm like, and I annoyed the shit out of him for months. And I couldn't believe how stupid I'd been working in finance and not fucking understanding money.
Well,
but it's because it was in nobody's interest in that finance industry for me, the guy that was selling the products, to know about money. Because my boss didn't know and still doesn't. His boss didn't know and still doesn't. His boss didn't know and still doesn't. And probably even the board of directors of this company who advertise on the TV every day a big company, multinational company, right? They don't know.
And they don't know on purpose.
Yes.
That's why they are selected. I remember speaking to a mortgage advisor at my bank when I'd changed banks. And I said, look, while I'm here, I'll just ask you, can I swap this mortgage over? I said, I'm pretty sure you're going to say no. And she said, oh, no, it'll be no problem. I said, I'm pretty sure you're going to say no. And she says, oh, no, we can't do this. I says, have they put a block on my credit? She says, yeah, there's a couple of black marks. Says, well, I've no CCJs, so the credit needs to be rectified, really. I said, because at the end of the day, you're not going to lend me any money, are you? She went, of course the bank lends you money. I says, so you're telling me the bank lends me its own money? She went, yes. I went, I think you might find you wrong there because it would be illegal for you to lend me money because you're bankrupt. And she just went red-faced, and she went, oh, I don't know about that. And I said, it's all right. I said, I'm on my way now. I said, I just wanted to see if you could swap the mortgage. And I knew that the other bank had put a block on it because of an overdraft that I asked her. I said, I'll pay you what I owe you awfully. Just show me the accounting. Where's the money come from? And if I owe it you, if I caused you loss, I'll pay you. They couldn't show it because the overdraft is my credit that they facilitated. They charged me to facilitate that every month. £30 a month I was paying. I said, have you not even claimed off the insurance for it? If I've defaulted, have you not claimed the insurance? No answer, they just walked away. Same with the credit card. I wrote the credit card off, I wrote it back, I said, I'm transferring this, not having it. Gone. They just left me alone, but they damage your credit rating without any CCJs. They just put that black mark against you, and companies are told, don't touch him. Yet I've got nothing against me. I've never refused to pay anything. I've always said I'll pay you what I owe you. They can't prove I owe them anything because you don't owe these fuckers anything. It's impossible to owe them something. How can I owe somebody something who hasn't given me anything? And if I owe you something, you're not going to give me £100 cheque to pay you £100. Yet British Gas send me a cheque that I must endorse to set off my debt so they can zero it. There you go, version negotiable instrument. Memorandum.
The thing is, Webby, is that they're stepping out. You're stepping out of the game, right? And they can't deal with that because they don't know how to step out of the fucking game. But you're stepping out of the fucking game, and because they can't deal with it, because unless it's in the game and it's in the rules of the game, you know, it's like Monopoly. It's fucking. There's nothing's going to happen to you if if you're getting fucking wankered at fucking Monopoly by your 9-year-old kid. There's nothing's going to happen to you if you fucking chuck bank and fucking tip it upside down and say, oh my god, it's fucking gone. We'll never know what we're in there and what we're what's, and so we'll have to just call it a fucking draw. You're out of that game. And they don't know how to deal with you. And so what they try to do is they try to deal with you using measures within the game. And they don't realise you fucking stepped outside of it. I'm not
exactly right.
Game.
Exactly. Webby, can you just mention that Facebook again, Webby? Because for anybody listening to this who don't know, where can they go and get this information to use?
It's a Facebook page. It's called Lower the Cost of All Your Bills to Zero.
Lower the cost of all your bills to zero.
Yeah.
It's on Facebook.
We've got to you. I've got a lot of good people in there who are actually not just people like myself who've been through stuff and got information to put on there, but people who actually. I mean, there's people on there who've contacted me, and I've said this to Andy and Jason. When people give me compliments, I don't take them very well. I've never been able to take compliments very well, and I've got people contacting me and saying, "Hey, I've watched your stuff. I've read. I've been following what you've been doing, and what you were doing just dropped a penny into exactly what I was looking at, and this is what I've come up with." And it's something completely different to what I'm doing, but it's the same. And it's the same with accepted for value. Everything is going and pointing to the same place. So the people that are in there are actually got ongoing stuff. There's a lad just been in court last week. There's a lad going to court next week. So these people are not just sharing information now, they're sharing information and using it. And there's a lot of good people coming in there. Obviously, people are always going to come in and try and shit on you. I mean, I've had it, Andy's had it, Jason's had it, I know you probably had it as well, Ed, that people want to shit on you because people know that this information cannot be repealed or got rid of. People say, oh, that Bills of Exchange Act weren't like you said it was. They just change it. Well, they fuck the entire global commerce up. You can't just do that. So look at what instruments are there, look at the wording, understand the concepts. If you get the concepts, it doesn't matter about big words because you can find out what big words mean. You've just got to understand the concept of a debt-based economy. You cannot pay for anything. You've never paid for anything. You've only ever promised. Promise and trust. That's this economy.
Well, you see, I've got no problem with being shit on from a great height because I'm a big fan of German pornography. So that's nothing to me. I don't mind that. So
is that the GGG?
People can fucking shit on me all they fucking want, and I really couldn't. Well, I won't. Shall I tell you what? I won't get him back.
No.
Simple as fucking that. I won't fucking get him back. Oh,
do me a favour, Jason, do me a favour. Don't be watching German porn when we're Skyping, mate. The bath was enough.
Oh, well, you see,
well,
you're
there
a
you
very
go,
privileged
Jason.
man. You're one of the few men that's watched me in the bath shaving me knackers. Schabernackers, by the way, German. Again, German porn, Schabernackers.
Yeah.
I always like them videos because they've got shaved knackers. Oh, Thomas Schabernacker!
Can I just bring this back to some kind of non-pornographic normality? Andy earlier, I think it was before you came on, Webby, he was on about words, and people have got to think about words. It's like when you said about the word spelling, and words are a spell. Spell. It's in there. Signature on a piece of paper, sign nature, give it life. People don't look at words and what they actually mean.
Like,
ignorance doesn't mean you don't know. It means you're ignoring it.
Yeah,
you do know.
But you're ignoring it, yeah.
And it's what these words actually mean.
Yeah, well, I use the analogy about the driver and a motor vehicle. Are you the driver? Everybody's taught from the age of 4, steering wheel, driving, car, motor vehicle, driver.
It's not.
I'm the driver. And it's not.
No.
But it's the English language is the only language that they could use to steal using this legal system because we have 8 words in English to describe one thing, whereas other languages will have 1 word to describe 8 things. You can't muck about with it as much. So our language is fucking perfect, and these people are teaching us one thing, and we're just repeating what we've been taught, and we're stitching ourselves up into parking fines and all kinds that we're not liable for. It's madness.
What intrigued me about that, Paul, is this English language is a very new language. It was invented. It's almost as though it was invented for a very special purpose.
It was.
Oh, come on, Andy. Surely not. We're not going into conspiracy theories, are we?
I mean, you just got to follow the evidence, really, haven't you?
I don't know if anybody's ever watched a guy called David Wynn Miller. He was actually the lawyer for Bill Clinton. And I have watched, there's one lecture that he gives, and I think it's 12 hours long. And I've watched it all numerous times, believe it or not. It's amazing how bored you can get DJing in a nightclub. And he talks about passe syntax grammar. And effectively, it's what you've just said, Webby. With passe syntax grammar, there is no question about what you're saying. Nothing at all. And it's like you've said, there's like 8 words to describe one thing rather than 1 word to describe 8. And the one that he always uses, the one that I remember, is if you put a sign up that says no parking, right, everybody will just park there. But if you put a sign up that says, now then what is it he says? For parking of the car is for the crushing. People know exactly what that means. Because it's all about objects and actions. Whereas what we actually talking is verb, adverb, verb. That's all we do. Which just means no.
There's no limit.
It's like an acting in a play. It's like a script that we've been taught, and they're actually giving us the parts to play. So going through the education system, instead of people saying, well, I want to do this and I want to do that, they're giving people a blanket of things and then cutting these people into the same shapes. And then these people don't know what fucking thing they want to do. People who'd rather be an artist, who'd rather get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, go and sit in the field and paint a landscape, are being forced to go and do a job for 40 hours a week that they hate. Now, surely if it was a society that was conditioned to actually be the benefit of people, you'd be looking at what creative skills or what direction children want to grow up and get into, whereas even though people can look at it and say everybody's got an option, they can choose what they like, I feel that our options are very limited these days. When I was growing up, you could go do an engineering apprenticeship. I know a bloke who can, from scratch, build a fucking boat. I don't know anybody in the younger generations that can just build a boat. There's nothing. No. We don't manufacture anything. You're giving college degrees out for stacking shelves. There's something wrong. There's something rotten in our society. And if people don't do it, it won't get fixed, because people who are relying on politics and voting for a leader to come and save us are the same people who've been voting in politics all this time that has created all our problems, and you're never going to fix the problems with the same consciousness that created them.
Exactly. If, rather than trying to fight over who's going to be on the throne, let's just fucking get rid of the throne. Job done.
And even that, though, they're fucking paid actors, because it's the crown, it's the fucking corporations that have put them on that throne, because she was definitely not the next in line. That lineage of the royal family that we've got now, the Germans, the fucking Germans, so they're not the next in line. And I'm not a big lover of the royals anyway. But for people who want to wave flags, and I mean, I know people who are close to me who say, well, it's not her fault. She was born into that job. Bollocks. They're bred to be a certain type of thing.
Psychopath.
Yeah, they're not people. They're not ordinary people. They don't think like us. They certainly don't want what the rest of the people want, because nobody wants fucking war. No man and woman. I can walk down my street, knock on every door. Do you fancy going to war with Russia? Everybody will say no. But these fuckers won't, because they'll
pay the tax and get somebody else to go do it for them. They'll all facilitate it by, it's like, for me, democracy it's like gang rape. Because all it is, it's getting the mass.
51%. It's 51% voting against the 49.
Yeah.
And they'll carry. Well, I don't. Yeah, I don't want people to
decide this woman's a piece of meat, and that we're going to impose our wishes on her. Well, that's exactly the same as democracy, isn't it?
That's why I quite enjoy the anarchist point of view, because people think anarchy is everything being in chaos and everywhere, and it's not. It's just rules. I don't need rules to tell me that I shouldn't punch you in the face, Eddie, and I shouldn't steal stuff from you, and I shouldn't damage your property. I don't need rules to tell me that. I know that that's wrong. As a decent man, I know that that is wrong. So if I come from a place of love and stay in truth, at least as the best you can, because I'm not sure if I know anybody who's totally truthful 100% of the time. Everybody tells little white lies, But we're talking about fundamental worldwide issues that are going to affect my children, possibly my grandchildren. If I don't do anything, my daughter, she's lovely, my daughter, but she's a photographer. She's gifted in art in that way. But she lives in a cucumber castle on top of a cherry oak tree with unicorns most days. She doesn't know about economies and banking systems. She hasn't got that. She hasn't got the ability to work that stuff out. Because of all the hang-ups she got from coming from school, she's got anxiety issues that she's worked through, still working through. How can I help her? Can't help her with those issues because she's got to deal with them. But to know that I know information like I do and not speak to like-minded people who either know more than me, that can give me something a bit extra to add to my stuff, or I'm giving a bit extra, that's how this stuff works. And then hopefully my daughter will just get up one day and go, hey, this world's getting much better now. And that would be because everybody's started to try and make something better. And we've had it recently. Lindsay was on last night talking about the changes that she made with she started the homeless project, Stand Up. And she set up 30 venues going all at the same time nationwide, got about 10 grand. That was one woman's interaction an incentive to do that. We've got a lad in Doncaster who's basically a pot wash. He's turned his life around. He's got himself a job. He got people, just from Facebook Live, he got them accommodation, he got them some funding from the council, he got them clothing, and they were from living under a bridge for 6 months in a tent, that night they were in accommodation. That was one man with Facebook Live. And if everybody just did that one thing, no matter what it was, paying it forward, things would change. You would see it would snowball. You couldn't stop it.
Yeah. And I think that's a great note to end on, because we've got to 9:30, and if I don't see my wife, because I've not seen her all day, because she's been at work and I've been at work, and then as soon as she came home from work, I had to come on the radio and talk to you fuckers. So I think we're just going to sort of wrap this up for this evening. We'll be back next Monday and Tuesday. I think we're probably going to do another one of these on Monday. I think it were a good idea that, I don't know, I think Rady that had, weren't it? 4 grumpy cunts on a fucking Monday, or you.
Jace, I did invite Owen when he said he wanted to come on and talk, because I know you hadn't got anything booked for Monday. So if you prefer Tuesday, how's Tuesday for you, Owen?
Well, listen, mate, we'll let things fall as they fall, you know. AD, go on.
I just want to say one thing. Most of the stuff that we've been talking about tonight is, Paul hit it a few minutes ago, which is, it's anarchy. And Paul's right, anarchy is not chucking bricks and bombs at everybody. Anarchy is exactly the opposite to that. It's caring for everybody. And if you want to know what it's all about, there's 2 places I could point you to. A guy called Larkin Rose, and a book, and there's an audio book. You can just listen to it for free on YouTube, and it's called The Most Dangerous Superstition, and that's talking about government. And the other one is a young lady on YouTube called Josie Outlaw, and she puts in 3 10-minute videos exactly what anarchy is, and she's brilliant. She's also really hot as well, but, you know, that's just a...
Well, thanks for that, AD.
I'm friends with Josie. I can recommend that as well. She's a good girl, Josie.
Well, I was just about to get to you, Webby. So if you'd just shut the fuck up, so I could just say thank you to AD, because AD he said he was going to give us half an hour tonight, but he's been here for the 2.5 hours. So a big thank you to you. I know that you've been stroking your dog, Rodney, on the if anyone's watching on Facebook Live, you'll see Rodney there. You've got access tonight, haven't you? It's from your. Yeah.
I only get him 1 night a week.
1 night a week, yeah. So, Webby, I'll tell you what. Give me 60 seconds of something, just to finish off with, mate.
What about bills of exchange?
Well, about what you want,
God.
mate. Just give 60 seconds soundbite, and then I'm going to get the same off Andy, and then we're probably going to end the show. So yeah, go on, give us a 60-second soundbite.
No, well, I can just say thanks for letting me on again tonight, lads. I was late getting home from work, but I enjoy the chat, I enjoy the banter, I enjoy the topics that we talk about, and I enjoy the honesty, the open honesty. You know, if we disagree, we can call each other cunts and still, you know, shake hands at the end of it. And we very rarely do that because we've been through all this stuff. We know where it's going. We know what to do about it. We just need the numbers. And at the end of the day, all we can do is what we're doing, because we're not going to lead people and change stuff for people. You've got to change it for yourself. And if you value your existence, and certainly your families or anybody who's close to you, and you want to make the world a better place, then change something small, do something small. That's all you've got to do, is start that change. Because before long, things just take over and things start happening, things come into your life, people contact you and say, listen, can you do this, can you do that? And all of a sudden doors start opening. So I think that's as best I could say that, Jay.
Brilliant, and just absolutely in time. Andy, what about you? I know you've had a joint or two, so what about 30 seconds from you?
Yeah, no worries.
Seems like an hour.
Yeah, I'd like to say thanks to everyone who's been in the chat room and on Facebook tonight. There's been some brilliant comments on there. Some great ones from Andrew K. Fletcher, particularly the last one there, Citizen Smith Radio. But no, it's been really great. We said about the phone-in thing, and I think that's something we could maybe do on nights when there isn't a guest. Invite listeners to call in with the Skype. It's a bit expensive to do it with paying for Skype credit, but we can certainly do it with people who are on Skype. And I think that might be a way forward, getting our listeners more involved in what we do. I'd just like to say I've thoroughly enjoyed this evening's conversation, guys. Thanks, and thanks to everybody for listening.
Brilliant, yeah. It's been a great conversation. We've had it's gone on a lot longer than we anticipated, and thanks to everybody. Yeah, I completely agree with you that we should get a phone-in show. If people can get Skype, and if you want to phone in, you can phone in, and we'll talk. We'll do this on a regular basis. Like Adi said, 4 old blokes talking on a Monday night probably. We'll and then have a guest on a Tuesday night. It may be the way forward with Raconteurs News, because we all seem to have come back into this. Really, you know, we all seem to now have been reinvigorated, and we've realised that what we're doing is having an impact. So a big thank you to everyone that's been in the chat room tonight. A big thank you to everyone who's been watching on Facebook Live. And we'll be back next week. We don't know what we'll be doing, but we'll be doing something Monday and Tuesday. Whether we have a guest or not, it doesn't matter. If we don't have a guest, we'll just talk shit like we've done tonight. Loads of stuff I had lined up tonight that I was going to do on my own, because I thought I was going to be on my own for the first half an hour. So I'll probably sit on that until when I am on my own. Big thank you to everyone for listening tonight. Thank you to Aid, thanks to Paul, and thanks to Andy. It's been a brilliant show, and we hope you've enjoyed it. And tell your friends, come to watch us on Raconteurs News. It's raconteursnews.com. Find us on Spreaker, spreaker.com/users/Raconteurs News. And you can always find us on Facebook as well. We love you. We'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye.